Hi, it's Joe Hoft here. Thank you for being with us today again, and thanks for watching the Joe Hoft Show. Maybe some of you have followed me onto this show. I was there helping out with Tina Peters' show just moments ago, um, and what a story she has. It's unbelievable. So much going on today. Anyways, we've got a lot to cover, and we've got an incredible guest today as well. So as timing has it, couldn't have picked a better guest for the day. But lots going on. I'm ready to kind of start off, and let's start off on a happy note, a happy birthday note. So take a look at this. President Trump, or at least someone who looks like President Trump, was invited to a kid's birthday party, and the kid just loves Trump. So watch his reaction. I saw this earlier today on social media. It cracked me up. So take a look. We'll start off the show with this.
Go dance, Bubba! Go dance with Donald Trump! You want to take a picture, Bubba?
I do.
That was precious, man. You see that little kid jumping around. I hope Trump's team sees that and brings that kid in to meet the real President Trump. Hats off to the Trump impersonator. That was funny. And he did a great job dancing and just dressed up looking like Trump. That was great stuff. So, it's time to have some fun. We've got a lot of blessings that have hit us, blasted us lately, but we keep getting blasted with the truth, and it just keeps coming and coming. And it's fantastic, but we've got a lot of work to do, as you well know. I thought I'd start off also with this clip. It's from this guy I really enjoy. He's a professor, I believe, and he knows a lot about economics and has had some great pieces on economics lately. But today's piece from this Peter St. Onge is related to DC and related to some of the searches that have been going on out there on the internet from that location. So, anyways, a pretty interesting piece from this professor. Take a look.
DC area Google searches for criminal defense lawyers, wiping hard drives, and offshore banking are spiking as the greatest corruption scandal in our nation's history unfolds. Orders of magnitude what they found on Tricky Dick, and potentially involving millions of government bureaucrats and so-called nonprofits. It all kicked off with Rasmussen Reports, who found Google searches for criminal defense lawyers spiked in D.C. after the election, hitting nearly 4 times any other state. Ex-users ran some other terms, and it turns out searches are soaring for RICO statutes, for, quote, the definition of treason, quote, penalties for criminal conspiracy, and statute of limitations, along with Swiss Bank, Offshore Bank, and BleachBit, the tool Hillary Clinton famously used to wipe her hard drives. DC searches for lawyer have soared 400%. In other words, we're going to need bigger prisons. The reason, of course, is that Doge found the mother lode, the tens of billions, perhaps hundreds of billions, that the deep state has been siphoning from Americans in what is effectively a universal basic income for the entire radical left and its media mouthpieces from Politico to New York Times to the BBC. All of this, of course, is very illegal. The statutory penalty for steering government money to your friends or associates is theft of government property, 10 years, and misuse of public money, also 10 years, unless it's under $100, in which case it's just 1 year. Simply giving campaign funds to relatives, which is apparently common practice in Congress, gets you 5 years. Then, of course, there's the malicious prosecution, not least by the FBI. So perjury gets you 5 years, obstruction of justice is 10 years, tampering with evidence, also 10 years, and destruction, alteration, or falsification of evidence is 20 years for any bureaucrats thinking about resisting Doge. Now, that's without getting into the definition of treason that bureaucrats are so curious about these days, which is, of course, punishable by execution. In case you wonder why they're fighting Doge so hard, this isn't just about their livelihoods, this is about 20-year prison sentences. A recent survey found nearly half of federal workers plan to actively resist Trump, which isn't surprising considering precisely 92.5% of D.C. area votes went to Kamala, but one does wonder how many of those resistors should be in prison instead. So what's next? Brought to you by OnChain.com. DC is already emptying out like rats abandoning ship. Zillow recently estimated DC home prices have dropped 15% since the election, $139,000. Homes for sale in DC Metro have jumped by 23%. In some parts of government-infested North Virginia, it's 60 to 70%, and that's before the mass layoffs kick in. Interestingly, the biggest surge in DC area listings are houses over $1 million, suggesting the rats are falling over themselves to get out, either because their U.S. aid blank checks are bouncing or because there is, in fact, a definition of treason. Doge's anti-corruption crusade has only begun. By the time Elon's done, I don't think Americans will ever look at the federal government the same. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
And there you have it. And that's what's going on. And that is that, as once I heard Bill O'Reilly say, and that is that. Once he pinned a liberal into a corner to say exactly what he expected him to say, he goes, and that is that. You get the last word. There you go. It was epic, epic. I remember it's 20 years ago, sitting with Jim on his couch and with our mother. And O'Reilly just destroyed this person. We were like, man, that was awesome. Bill O'Reilly, as you know, left Fox News. He's doing a podcast as well right now. So, anyways, that was epic. And there is a lot of people in DC that are obviously concerned about their crimes, or they wouldn't be looking this stuff up. So, pretty big deal, pretty interesting, excuse me, information as well. Speaking about the guilty, one thing that you learned when you're an auditor, as I was, and traveled around the world, was those people that don't want to give you information, those people that balk at you doing an audit, look scared, fight the most, get angry with you actually coming in and doing an audit. And it's not very often that happens. I got to tell you, in my years and decades in audit, very, very rarely did somebody get upset, very rarely. And that was an immediate sign that something's going on. And so I could tell you a story related to that. As a matter of fact, maybe we can, um, I could mention this. I guess I didn't share anything on it so far today, but in Orange County, California, I offered with a group of people to perform an audit of the election in 2020 and the or from 2024. There was a number of issues after the election. There was even a bomb threat on the Friday night. A number of seats, huge county, about 2 million or so people in the county. They handed out more than 2.1 million ballots, and yet they only had 1.8 million people on their voter roll. So that was a question we had. There was always an answer that came from the registrar of voters. Constantly, said, "Oh, everything's fine." We checked anybody that came in. We also gave them a ballot, so we checked to make sure they hadn't already voted. And, assured us everything was on the up and up, and we brought up the water main break. We've got we received some not the water main break, the bomb threat that evening. We received information showing what was going on in that facility. We saw at least one instance where somebody had rammed through a batch of ballots through 3 times, and that wasn't the only instance that we saw that. All sorts of things happening in that county. So we decided, well, hey, I'll get a team. Actually, I thought, well, I'll get a team together, some real smart people I've met over the last few years. We'll offer to do an audit. We'll pay for our own expenses. We'll do the audit. We'll give you a clean bill of health if it's a clean bill of health that's warranted. And we will do an independent professional audit for Orange County, California. Well, they haven't responded to that message. So, what does that tell you? I think, from my experience, that's not good. Whenever we asked someone that, hey, we want to come in, we want to do this audit, blah, blah, blah. Now, first of all, in the corporation, if they were employees of the same corporation I was at, then it was pretty much a no-brainer. Your job is to allow that audit to happen. Everybody knew that. The auditor's coming in, you work with the auditor and you help them as best you can and let them do their job and let's see what's going on. The higher I went in the organization, the more I realized that these people, how much they valued auditing, because that's where you get the independence and a snapshot of what's going on outside the normal, activities that are happening in the corporation. So they loved us and they respected us and it was a joy to work and go to audit committee meetings around the world and board meetings and speak to these people and share with them just frankly about what we found or didn't find and the good results or not. And that was just our job to do. It was to share this stuff. Well, some people don't like that. Some people don't want the truth to be known, and that's the ones you got to look out for. That's unfortunate. That's the way it is. So, anyways, here's Elon Musk also saying something in this interview the other night with Hannity and President Trump. He addresses this, I think, pretty straightforward as well. He knows what I'm talking about. Take a look at this.
Now, first they hated him, now they hate both of you.
Well, I think we're seeing an antibody reaction from those who are receiving the wasteful and fraudulent money.
They're being exposed.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be exposed.
I'll tell you a lesson I learned at PayPal. You know who complained the loudest, and the quickest and the loudest and with the most amount of righteous indignation? The fraudsters. That's who complained first, loudest, and they would generally have this immense overreaction. That's how we knew they were the fraudsters. Mm-hmm. That's how we knew.
Absolutely my experience as well. Done audits around the world. Those people that scream and holler and blah, blah, blah are mean. They're covering up. They're doing something. So, when you don't hear from somebody, that's maybe even worse. They just, somebody's not, you offer to do an audit and they say nothing. Well, that's a red flag. So anyways, that's what we've got going on in Orange County right now. We'll see how we can address that. And believe me, there's going to be some information on that coming out here in the next few days. So, and good information. We're going to, we just want the truth. We just want to help America and be free and ensure that our election processes are working as intended. So we'll be talking more about that. Elon and Trump have been good friends, just great friends. And Hannity interviewed them both the other night. I thought Hannity did basically a typical Hannity job. He talks over you. He thinks he's the most important guy in the room, thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's always wrong because none of those things are true. And I think he was a truck driver before, getting into talk radio and then working his way towards Fox. He wasn't very outspoken about the stolen 2020 election. As a matter of fact, I don't think he allowed President Trump to even share that stuff on his show after the election, which really kind of disappointed me greatly. I used to watch Hannity's show when I was in Hong Kong every morning. It was morning for me and enjoyed it very much. And then after 2020, I was pretty much done and haven't gone back to Fox at all. Was appalled by their reporting on the 2020 election, the steal that I've now written 3 books about. And by the way, if you haven't bought them yet, get them. They lay it out. I've had some great compliments. President Trump wrote me a letter and thanking me for the book. Rudy Giuliani has said some wonderful things to me about the book, saying, hey, these are records that'll, last in the centuries. And quite frankly, Roger Stone said my books will be classics. So very proud of that effort that I took to put those books together. Anyways, so that's what's going on. And people are trying to step between Trump and Elon, and it's pretty apparent. And Elon, this is discussed. I think both Trump and Elon know how important they are to each other. Elon, just a great guy, So thank God that he's on our side. Anyways, take a look at this clip.
Well, look, I think Elon Musk is very much a change agent. There are 8 billion people on planet Earth, and if you assume intelligence is distributed on a bell curve, Larry, you and I have both known some incredibly smart people. Someone is at the bleeding edge of that bell curve, and I think his name is Elon. I mean, it is, you spend time with him. Elon doesn't just think outside the box. He doesn't know there's a box. It's an incredible thing.
Right.
And I will say it is an incredible asset to President Trump to have someone like Elon willing to dive in night and day and pour his prodigious talents into fighting for President Trump's agenda. I'll also say there are an awful lot of Democrats and a lot of folks in the corporate media who are desperate to try to drive a wedge between President Trump and Elon Musk. They're doing everything they can to try to create friction. And as far as I can tell, those efforts have been an utter failure. The two are working hand in hand, and that's good for America.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we're so grateful for Elon Musk. You know, how many of these guys that have joined the Trump team that don't need the money at all, they are there to help make America better. They're not there to steal money. They're not there to make a living. They're not there to, increase their net worth by the thousands fold like we see with so many of these congressmen and women. What I hear the other day, Ilhan Omar's net worth's like 73 million, 63, started off probably in the thousands. Same with AOC in the millions, 20 some million now. Excuse me. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that something legitimate happened where there's something making money like that. And that goes for Obama, the Clintons, the list goes on and on. These people that get into the U.S. Political scheme and make millions, if not even more, hundreds of millions, they're criminals. We need to hold them accountable. I love it that Elon Musk is asking some of these people, how much money are you making? What did you do to earn, hundreds of millions? He brought up Pelosi. He says she's worth like a couple hundred million now. He goes, man, she needs to be, sharing on how to invest because this lady is making some serious money. Well, of course, it's all insider information. Anybody else would be thrown in prison for. She's using this information to make her and her family rich. She's an absolute monster of a person. And those are the people we don't need in our Congress. You look around, you say, how could you get such a corrupt group of people in one room? That's Congress. That's Congress now. We need to work on that. Anyways, there was an incident that occurred last night. I'm changing the subject totally, and it was at CPAC. And so CPAC's this event that occurs, I think, annually. And Matt Schlapp and his wife have been running this thing for years. They bring in conservatives. It's turned into a pretty big deal. They usually have some big speakers, like even President Trump. Although one year back in 2016, if you remember CPAC, the word was people are going to stand up and walk out when Trump decides to talk because he was beating everybody in the race for president. So Trump never showed up, and it blew him away. They just had no idea that would happen, and that's the way Trump's done things. He's so great. He did it this week in Russia. Trump didn't go; his representatives did, but he didn't invite Zelensky. Why would he invite Zelensky? Why would he invite Zelensky? The guy's made hundreds of billions from the U.S., talked it out of Biden, and what's he going to do? Trump. He complained, and Trump said, "Well, wait a minute." In a message on social media last night, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You've had years to do this. You didn't have to get in it in the first place. You've suckered 300 and some million out of Joe Biden. You claim that you received 170 million. You've lost 100 million of that. And Trump's saying, I think it's closer to 300 and some million. It's sad that we don't even know the number. It's unreal. This stuff's unreal. And this clown wanted to be involved in any peace discussions with Russia. Give me a break. Guy should have ended this thing a long time ago. Trump says your cities are blown apart. You haven't, you got a popularity of 4%. You haven't had an election there. You postpone, you're a tyrant. Why would we bring you? Love it that Trump just does that. He just lays it on the table. At first, you're shocked and you realize, God, he's right. He's got so much courage and charisma to do that. But anyways, last night Trump wasn't at January 6th. At CPAC, one of these January 6ers was, and his name's Jake Lang. And he showed up and they kicked him out. A January 6er was kicked out. So anyways, got a video of that. We're going to play that. Take a look.
Hi guys, right now, my name's Jake Lang. This is Cynthia from CPAC. She's one of the managers here. They're telling me right now I am not allowed to stay at CPAC. They are kicking January 6ers out of CPAC live. We are right now live on the Gateway Pundit on Blessed News. This is Cynthia right here. This woman is telling me that my credentials have been removed. You know, I did 900 days of solitary confinement. I was just released from the DC Gulag 29 days ago with a presidential pardon.
Excuse me.
And you're removing my credentials from CPAC. After I just bought a booth, 22 tickets I bought for all my Jan 6 brothers. This is abhorrent. This is horrible. We should not be being treated like this. This is horrible. Jan 6ers are being kicked out of CPAC with no explanation, no reason. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars to fly Jan 6ers, destitute people across the country to be here. How can
Sir, I'm just talking to you. I'm not talking about
if you guys need to put your hands on me or get the police here, but we are live right now with thousands of people watching. Why am I being kicked out of CPAC? Why have my credentials been removed?
CPAC just decided that they don't want you here for whatever reason.
Okay.
If you want to contact CPAC via email or phone, you can do so.
Who has made that decision, and why aren't they here telling me exactly why my credentials
You're
have
the
been?
person that is in charge of letting you know. This is, and I have not said anybody else cannot be letting you know that we do not have our credentials for you today. So
Okay.
I have told you.
Why? Why did my credentials get
I'm
removed?
telling you what I can tell you, and I'm telling you that I do not have a credential for you today, and I appreciate you coming. And again, your booth is welcome to your staff.
The J6 booth is welcome to stay, but my credentials have been removed for no explanation. Security's here ready to physically remove me from the venue.
Take this up with you post-event. We're in the middle of getting us set.
No, this is ridiculous. I mean, if the police want to come and give me a ticket for trespassing, we could do a trespass, an official trespass, but I don't feel like getting assaulted by these random men right here. And so when the police come, I've dealt with the police for 4 years. I can talk to them, and if they would like to trespass me live in front of, the Gateway Pundit audience here and all the people that are watching live, then we can do that. But as of right now, I'm going to hold my ground like I did for 1,467 days. Never compromised, never took a plea deal. CPAC should be ashamed of themselves. This is horrible treatment. Look at all. How we doing, sir?
Property, you don't want it.
Okay, the
Nothing
police can, if they want to come and trespass me, that's fine. No, the police can, excuse me, please don't touch me, sir. You're assaulting. Let's go. You're assaulting me. The police can come. You guys are assaulting me right now. Sir, what is your name? Burley.
Yes.
Burley's assaulting me right now, being kicked out of CPAC right now.
You must have somebody that gave you the order to do this. We want to see that.
I want to see that person
right now.
The lady named Cynthia just said your credentials have been removed.
To make those requests, but the people that are front CPAC said that they
You guys can stay and hang out. It's fine.
Then I'm not allowed
You'll
to be
sell
here
your
because you can
t-shirt
all-
if you want us to, but you gotta tell us how.
Being escorted out right now out of CPAC. January 6th Patriots are being kicked out of CPAC right now. I'm being escorted. No, by cowards and scumbags. This is horrible. I did 4 years and 6 days in the Gulag. I'm being escorted out. I bought a booth here. So good to see you, brother. I love you, man. God bless you, brother. God bless you. This is my man, Michael Ford. We did time in the Gulag together.
All you need to call
This is insanity. Mercedes Schlapp, CPAC, you should be ashamed of yourself. They're kicking Jan 6ers out of CPAC for no reason, no explanation. Tens of thousands of dollars down the drain. Humiliation. Look at this. They've revoked my credentials.
Yeah, right.
I'm a Christian.
God bless you. God bless you, sir.
No one.
The Nazis were also just doing their job.
I don't even know you.
He's a garbage.
Ebrima.
He is not a Christian.
Ebrima Ebi. Yes, I know. No, he put his hands on my fiance.
Yeah,
He's
he
going to
is.
be getting sued. Ebrima. I'm trying to spell your name, so
EBRIMA.
Yeah.
EBRIMA and
Burley.
Burley.
Watch out, you're gonna get.
God bless you guys. May the Lord have mercy on you. I'm running for United States Senate. Already declared my bank account's open. We got a WinRed account. I'm a current candidate for United States Senate, a pardoned January 6er. I was just kicked out, assaulted and kicked out of CPAC. And Rachel, they also assaulted her. We're kicked out on the streets. It's freezing out. It's snowing here. And the approximately $20,000 I just spent to fly all the Jan 6ers across the country here, got 22 tickets to CPAC, got an exhibitor's booth, did everything right, pardoned by President Trump. In fact, my case was dismissed. They removed my credentials because the people behind CPAC, Conservative Inc., and the people supporting them are the same turncoats, the same people that tried to leave some Jan 6ers behind. These people, I know exactly who's behind this.
Yep.
I know exactly who's behind this. You should be ashamed of yourselves. This aggression will not cease, and in fact, I will be hosting my own event of similar stature. We will just, you know what? When you're not invited somewhere, when you're not welcome somewhere, that's a spark of ingenuity that God sometimes puts in a man's heart to do his own thing. Ran events for 10 years in New York City. We'll be doing our own event.
Well, that was just amazing. Jake Lang gets kicked out of CPAC. What the hell's going on there? What's going on? This guy's a hero. He shouldn't be kicked out of CPAC. I thought that was wild, and the fact that there was no reason for it, and pretty horrible, quite frankly. So, anyways, not a good show for CPAC there. Not a good one. Kind of reminds me when Trump went there and they were all going to turn their backs, and Trump decided, no, I'm not going to go. Anyways, thanks so much. We're going to take a quick break here, and we will be right back. Siri down, mermaid. Hi, this is Joe Hoft. Are you looking for monthly income without the risk of stocks? Here's something you won't hear about on CNBC. There's a unique way to collect royalties directly from America's most productive oil fields. No exploring, drilling, or operational headaches. You simply collect checks month after month. The best part? You can get started with just $25 through any brokerage account. The Oxford Club's chief income strategist, Mark Lechtenfeld, breaks down what he believes is the #1 loyalty play for 2025. Visit HoftOilBoom.com now to learn more. That's HoftOilBoom.com, HoftOilBoom.com. Stop buying oil stocks and start collecting oil royalty checks now instead.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF. What is DCF, you ask? We're the best damn sandwich shop in the universe. Do we sell hoagies? Well, we're DCF, and the F doesn't stand for hoagies. We got 9mm sandwiches, we got beastly baguettes, and we toast buns like no other. Looking for training on bun safety? We got you covered, and our ranges are the best place to test out your new Not sandwich. So get your buns out, cause the sun's out, and let's party! We're not actually a sandwich shop.
This Joe Hoff. We're back on the Joe Hoff show. There's so much going on. It's just hard to keep up. Had some great discussions earlier today on Tina Peters' show with Matt Mack. Incredible discussions. I met him through this election integrity effort, but he's been trying to help Americans for a long time. Good man. And we talked about a number of things, especially Tina Peters related. And so, as you know, we had an event a couple weeks ago where we spent 7 hours on a Saturday presenting, talking about Tina, talking about her legal case, talking about sharing a couple movies, Let My People Go by David Clements, as well as her movie Selection Code, which I thought was excellent. Really made me cry. Great movie. Anyways, that was something really fantastic. Lots going on now to try to help Tina. But last night we received some really relatively sad news coming out of the out of Colorado in regards to Tina Peters. And what we heard was, and Joe Altman shared this on a tweet. What we're hearing is that Tina Peters, she filed a writ of a habeas corpus. Joe mentioned this. She had allegations of mixed conduct involving the sheriff of her county, and Joe's saying, well, because of that, perhaps there's some retaliation, maybe because of that. Anyways, they attempted to move Tina to a pod that was called an incentive pod, and when they did, she declined. She didn't like it. She was in a place that she thought was safe. And so, anyways, they told her if she didn't accept it, this promotion, as they called it, then she would be punished. So she was going to be moved to this room with lots of people, and and oh wow, okay, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay, take it. Take your time. Anyways, Tina has been put, as a result of her actions, Tina Peters, she's been put into a solitary confinement, 70 or so year old Tina Peters, because she didn't want to move into a less safe area for her. And so we find that just absolutely horrible. But at the same time, this evening, in Colorado, there is going to be an event, and it's for those that helped imprison Tina. Both the Attorney General, his name's Weiser, and the local DA Dan Rubenstein are being recognized at the League of Women Voters, and that event is tonight in at the Colorado chapter of the League of Women Voters, and we find that appalling, appalling. The people that manufactured these effort to put Tina Peters in prison, basically, they're getting recognition tonight. It's unbelievable. So while they're getting recognition, Tina Peters is sitting in solitary confinement. It's unreal. Well, I tell you what, nobody knows more about this and sitting in solitary confinement, I think, than our guest here, a guy who's an American hero and has lived through hell these last 4 years. He's been with us about a day or two after he was freed, and now he's back. None other than Jake Lang. Jake, welcome to the Joe Hoff Show.
Joe, my brother, good to be back. Wish it was under better circumstances, dealing with more discrimination, more backlash from the January 6th, community. Not our community is being oppressed by CPAC. I was thrown out of CPAC yesterday with no warning, no explanation. And then right after that, also Enrique Tarrio and Stuart Rhodes and Richard Barnett. Big O, we call him Big O. He had his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. We were all tossed out of CPAC yesterday unsacrimoniously. An incredible dehumanization to be, just released 29, 30 days ago now from the Gulag after 1,467 days of, that incredible, torture and cruel and unusual punishment just to continue to receive abuse by the Rhino establishment Republicans. It was just abhorrent.
I saw the video. We played it actually earlier in the show here Jake. It's a 4 minute clip. CanCon put it up, just about 4 minutes of you saying what's going on. Why are you kicking me out? You're saying they're kicking January Sixers out of here. What's going on? They wouldn't give you a reason. You see these people, then they escort you out, which was outrageous, and then you don't get an answer the whole time. They didn't give you a whole answer. You go outside and your attitude's always been unbelievable. I just really admire your attitude over the last 4 years. Unbelievable stuff you've had to through, and you have this great attitude. But anyways, they never did give you a reason, did they?
No, and then they doubled down on their lies today. CPAC posted early this morning that it is untrue that we are removing Jan Sixers from our facility, and you can go and order your tickets here. They're about to be sold out. I can't believe that these people, I mean, this is supposed to be the Make America Great Again new age Republican movement and no longer the old country club of the establishment uniparty. But these people seem to be more aligned with Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, who openly spoke out against us, who even said that Ashley Babbitt's murderer, Lieutenant Byrd, should be rewarded. You know, these people hate the Jan Sixers. They're a part of the establishment that tried to discredit us and defame us and destroy our lives and lock us away for decades. And so CPAC has shown its true colors, who they truly align with. They're not with Trump and the Trump pardons. They're more along the lines of like the Ron DeSantis, Jeb Bush, Paul Ryan, false conservative hacks.
Well, you know what, Jake, I got to tell you, and in a certain sense, this doesn't surprise me. Let me tell you a couple stories. One is, as you recall, in 2016, they threatened to turn their backs or get up and walk out when President Trump, if he were to come and give a speech. And so what Trump did is he said, "Fine, I'm not showing up." And he decided to go somewhere else that weekend rather than CPAC, which was awesome. That's what we love about Trump. He's got the guts to just do whatever. Screw you. I'm going to go take care of myself. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where these, idiots do that. Another story involves my brother Jim, who has done so much great work for the January Sixers over the past 4 years. Jim went there during Trump's first term. The censorship got out of hand. I was in Hong Kong at the time, writing part-time for Jim, had a full-time position over there. Jim, however, was in the States. And what we saw right after the election, and I did a study for Jim with the numbers about a year later in late 2017, early 2018, was that the top 10 conservative websites, as deemed by even a far left entity, of which Gateway Pundit was one of them, Breitbart, they were the top three, two of the top three. Anyways, the volume of Facebook traffic was cut by 95%. Across the board, where Gateway Pundits may be down 88%, some sites were totally shut down. And then you'd see Zuckerberg go in front of Congress and say, no, there's no censorship. And so Jim wanted to talk about this as CPAC. His advertisers were getting attacked. Google Ads got shut down. They bragged about it in the British Parliament, even some guy about how they bragged about shutting down Gateway Pundits' ad revenue. All this stuff was happening at the time. Now we see USAID was paying for all of it and paying the monster in mainstream media to push their lies. And so, anyways, Jim tries to get to CPAC to do this event, and then something happens. I think he had a writer who gave an event up in Connecticut, and he got attacked. And so CPAC says, "Well, we're not going to let Jim Hoft in now." And his good friend Pamela Geller was there, and she said, "Well, if Jim's not going to talk, then I'm not going to talk."
Amen.
And so they both stepped aside. Pam was a true friend, a real patriot, and they both were suffering from this massive censorship effort by the communist fascists that had taken over our country. And so what happened was they brought in some goon that had no idea what he was talking about. And they had this guy discuss this topic, and people in the crowd were upset. They're like, "What's going on here? Why are you allowing this guy to talk and not Jim Hoft, who, he went through this, he got an award the other night and went through this list of how Gateway Pundit's been attacked." So anyways, you're in good company is what I'm saying, Jake. You, President Trump, and Jim. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I wear it as a badge of honor in some ways. For me, it goes a little deeper than just being thrown out of the event and how that, kind of signifies that we're real outsiders, we're real patriots, and the establishment, hacks don't want us there. But it goes deeper than that for me because you have to understand, I just got out of 900 days of solitary confinement. I've recently announced my bid for United States Senate and Marco Rubio's open seat in Florida there, running against Ron DeSantis and Ashley Moody, another rhino, uniparty type of race that, now I'm a political outsider coming in as a real MAGA supporter trying to defeat them. But beyond that, this was my first opportunity to really feel and touch humanity again. This is my first public appearance. I spent tens of thousands of dollars. I got 22 tickets for CPAC for all of the Jan Sixers. I have this big Airbnb. We did all of this stuff. And this was my time to feel and touch and hug upon the American people who voted for my freedom and to really be a part of my community and to have a reuniting moment between me and all my brothers who suffered in the gulag. And they robbed me of that. They could refund my money. They can invite me back, which they already, allegedly Stuart Rhodes, who was kicked out, founder of the Oath Keepers, he's back in right now. And so is Richard Barnett. So they're completely backtracking this horrible PR stunt they did. But what they can never do is refund my dignity and refund the humiliation and the assault that I suffered at their hands. My fiance too, they physically took us and shoved us and pushed us out of the building. And so, these are these are egregious acts that I don't want to see normalized against January Sixers. We should be being embraced in public settings. I would understand if we're in Seattle, you know what I mean, at like some pink hat meeting and we get shoved out of there and say we're not welcomed. Okay, we understand that, but to go to the heart, the so-called heart, the alleged heart of the conservative movement, that one of the largest, events that happens that, conservatives go to, and to be rejected there in front of thousands of people and stuff is a defamation of my character. And I'm talking with attorneys, multiple attorneys already reaching out saying that, we should do something. This is your organization. I have a booth there. I was an exhibitor there. And for me to go to my booth, I had to pack up my laptop, my jacket, all this stuff, in the middle of CPAC. It was so humiliating. But, at the end of the day, this is the only thing that remains is that they don't deserve to be graced with the presence of the Jan Sixers. They're below us. We are the people that suffered as political prisoners, championed through, pardoned by President Trump, and to be rejected by these establishment hacks, like I said, is a badge of honor. And everybody's texting me, hundreds of people, come back today. We want to see you. We want to be there. I mean, my booth's still there. I paid for the booth. And so, I have yet to make a decision if I'm going to go back. But if I go back, it'll be under the pretense that I'm standing there and saying that we need to boycott CPAC from inside CPAC.
Well, you wouldn't be the first one to say that. And like I said, President Trump didn't even show up that one year. And then the next year after Trump wins the election, they praised him like he was the king, And I don't know if this is just human nature or what it is, but it was disgusting, at least from my point of view. Like, what are these people doing? I'm over in Hong Kong watching this, seeing the greatest candidate I've ever seen run for president, and him being slammed by the establishment. So I do think you're touching something there that it's a big issue, quite frankly. It's a real big issue. And that is that there's this establishment GOP, and it's across the country. It's in some of the reddest states you've ever seen. I know in Missouri, a red state, couple great senators, I'd have to say, but there are rhinos running that state that are toxic. I just received information last night on Oklahoma. It's one of the states that every single county went to Trump, and yet they have rhinos running that state as well. Michigan, Christina Caramo, a good grassroots woman, was voted in as head of the GOP. She got pushed aside and replaced. And I thought that was horrible what they did to her. And I've had her on this show. So there's this establishment GOP. It's the same people that, like you said, backed DeSantis. When DeSantis decided to run for president, they got behind him, and they praised him, and they got all sorts of money behind him.
The same donors that made the decision, the same people that back these people up are the ones behind this decision. And so I just put out a piece of breaking video clip right now. Roger Stone's nephew, Alex Stone, Great young man, been doing a podcast for 5 years, had me on multiple times for my prison cell. He was at CPAC this morning in Media Row. Matt Schlapp and Mercedes Schlapp, the chairman of CPAC, were doing an interview. And when the cameras turned off the interview, Alex was right next to them doing a separate interview, and he overheard Matt bragging about the Jan Sixers were not good for optics, so we had to kick them out. And the podcaster that he was with was also agreeing with that. And so they claimed yesterday that they had no idea that this had happened and ... CPAC denied it's untrue. And so, but we have confirmation from a credible source that they are bragging about kicking Jan Sixers out, that Enrique Tarrio, Jake Lang, and Stuart Rhodes were not good for CPAC's, obviously for these big conservative, fake conservative donors that back Ron DeSantis. These are the same people like Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell that stood up there and said January 6th was an insurrection, is a stain on American history. These people are hacks and they deserve to be called out for who they are. And so, sometimes God orchestrates events where our enemies expose their own hand. And that's what happened with January 6th. We learned about the deep state. We learned about the FBI Gestapo. We learned about the George Soros federal prosecutors and the weaponized DOJ. And so again, now our enemies have shown their hand again. When CPAC rejected Jan Sixers, they officially took themselves off the credibility list of MAGA. And I believe that this is now the beginning of the end, not just for CPAC, but really for the calling out. Now we have a new crusade in the MAGA movement. Let's extricate the rhinos from our
Amen.
midst.
Amen. Amen, Jake. I got to tell you, as you were talking, I'm reminded of this speech I heard years ago by a guy by the name of Doug Weed. Doug Weed wrote President Trump's one of his books on his presidency. He was selected by Trump to do that. Great man. Not sure if you heard of him, but he gave this speech. He was a minister as well. He gave a speech about David, and this is what you remind me of right now. David, let's face it, David's one of the biggest characters in world history. And he talks about how David, when he goes after Goliath, he says, is it true that whoever fights Goliath gets to marry a princess, become a prince, and get all this property and stuff? He was focused on the dream as opposed to what he had to do to get it. And so he does do it and he wins. But the story that he continued with was sometimes, you're happy being a prince. You're happy meeting this goal, but God wants you to be a king. And so you think you've got it and you've done it and you've really mastered something. It's been absolutely one hellacious race to get to where you're at. And yet God sees more. He's got more for you. So for some reason, Jake, that thought crossed my mind just now, and that's what I think about you. Your attitude has been fantastic, unbelievable, quite frankly, very positive. And that's what we need in this country right now. And you're right, but we also need people that are willing to have the courage to stand up against rhinos and people like McConnell and these monsters that are sending money over to Ukraine to just watch young men and women just get butchered, by both Russian and Ukrainian. It's great to have people that have the courage, like President Trump, to stand up against this. And we need, he reinforces that and brings that out in all of us, I think. So you're in a unique situation, Jake. You're in a great spot.
Thank you. Yeah, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. I'm so happy that the political outsider role has been now kind of normalized by President Trump. And so that's where I'm literally the most political outsider possible. I'm emerging from a prison cell just 30 days ago. I just got my driver's license. I'm running for Senate. I'm trying to balance becoming a normal, citizen and human being again, while also trying to continue the crusade that we started. The work that was started on January 6th, what we stood up for at the United States Capitol that day, that was a cry out for change. We were tired of them stealing our elections and installing these, Marxist regime leaders like Joe Biden. They almost did it with Kamala Harris. And so for me, the Make America Great Again movement, really, the bedrock of it, the core facet of it is that anything's possible, and the David and Goliath outsiders are the ones that are going to be exalted in this movement, and those who have, been slimy and gone the establishment route as far as compromising the their integrity in order to further their political career, that old style politician is now vilified, and the everyday man that rises up with integrity, refuses to compromise and take leadership is, supposed to be put on a pedestal. That's what Make America Great Again is for me. That's why I support this movement.
Yeah, thank you. So, has DeSantis actually signed up to run for that race as well, or no?
No, I mean, right now it's Ashley Moody, who is the appointed senator, is going to be running for not re-election, but to as the incumbent. And so she has no name recognition, which is great for our campaign. Nobody knows who she is, and they shouldn't know who she is because she's really just kind of in beaten path with Ron DeSantis. In fact, she had recently congratulated one of Ron DeSantis, the campaign manager of Ron DeSantis, who is openly anti-Trump, like a never Trumper type of Republican. And so she had been tweeting about he got a new position in government, and she was openly tweeting, congratulating this man. So she has also exposed her hand as showing that in Florida, in fact, the most MAGA state in the country, with the boat parades and Mar-a-Lago's down here, and it's kind of like the hotbed, the new conservative Hollywood. Everybody's down here. But even in Florida, we have these rhinos trying to move back in and trying to taint the MAGA movement so that they could return back to their old boys club, country club style republicanism, where the little man is gate kept out and they hold all the cards, the establishment hacks. So, but we're not going to let it happen. I believe that God's going to bless this campaign, because this is what when I get elected into United States Senate, it'll be the official end of the era of Mitch McConnell and the weak-kneed, rhino Republican leadership there. And it'll, usher in a new era of the golden age of America that Donald Trump's been talking about.
Yeah, amen. And I think you're spot on too. There's two things that have to be fixed. One is our election process. We can no longer continue with this process that's not certifiable. I'm an auditor. I'll swear to it. This stuff is not certifiable. And the other thing is the rhinos. We've got these rhinos across country, like I said, in red states, the reddest of states, and you get these monsters that take over the party. I don't know how that happens, but we've got to get rid of them. And you're spot on with that. It's a big deal. It needs to be done. It needs to be done.
Well, this is a beginning. This is a beginning. When people look back, they're going to see Donald Trump won in 2024, but that was when the work started. He pardoned the Jan Sixers for a reason. He believes in us, and he wants to see us go forth and start to, take back the government and fix the problems that we have firsthand experience. I mean, one thing I can say above and beyond all things is that no one will fight for you like a Jan Sixer, as far as an elected official. And so we have multiple guys that are going to be running for Congress and sheriff and, many different great positions, school board leaders, Senate. And so, I support all my Jan Six brothers that are running. I encourage more Jan Sixers to stand up. I mean, this is the type of, movement that leaders are born out of, that great men emerge out of adversity, out of, persecution, is where we see these great stories, men of history. And so, God willing, one day, my story will turn out to be the ultimate Cinderella story, where I was arrested for going into the United States Capitol, and then I'll be welcomed in this time as one of the, the public servants that is able to serve my country.
Wow. That'd be fantastic. Hey, I wanted to bring to your attention before we go. There's a couple other individuals that need some prayers and some that are right now facing some difficult times. One's Kim Sorgenti out in Orange County, California. He's going to court tomorrow. He's a January 6er. So that dropped by the side. But in December of 2020, before January 6th, he was involved in a Stop the Steal protest on a street corner in Orange County, along with other patriots, where he got attacked by a couple gangbangers, one of them with brass knuckles. I'm sure they were probably paid by somebody to be there to just beat people up. And here's a picture of Kim. Kim's got the microphone or the megaphone in his hands. He was protecting himself. The guy in the black is a gangbanger. He's got brass knuckles in his right hand there. You can't see from this picture, but we've got other pictures. So Kim was arrested, long story short, for assaulting an individual with a deadly weapon. His deadly weapon is his megaphone against the gangbanger with brass knuckles. So tomorrow morning in Orange County, California, he'll be going to court. He's trying to get it dismissed. And I'm encouraging people to go there and support him. Anyways, I can send you information on this. Maybe you can share.
Please do. Yeah, we do.
And
We've hired many attorneys to represent the remaining January Sixers that are still incarcerated. We got two of them out so far, Daniel Box and Dominic Ball. Dominic Box and Daniel Ball. And so, we have a couple other guys remaining too, and our prayers are out with Kim. I'm not aware of that situation, and I want to get plugged in. So after the show, I'll shoot you a text. But listen, guys, there are 5 Jan Sixers still incarcerated, including, separately, Tina Peters. So, you were talking about her early on, and I just want to, extend a prayer in the name of Jesus Christ to you, Tina, who's in solitary. I did over 900 days myself, sweetheart. When you hear this, when you're a free woman very soon, we support you. The angels of God are surrounding you. Do not give in. Do not fold. Do not break. Do not show them your tears. Hide, your emotional state and stand firm in front of your oppressors, and continue to represent America as you do so well. We love you and support you, and may God bless you.
Well, that's so fantastic, Jake. Hey, one other individual I'm going to share with you. He's not a January 6er. He's not somebody that's been arrested recently. He was arrested 33 years ago in New York City. He was a member of a mob. They arrested him and said that he killed somebody, and his name's Michael Sessa. Michael reached out to me after I was writing about Andrew Weissman and all of his activities with the Russia collusion sham. Him and Mueller were attacking President Trump during his first administration. Michael, who's the middle guy in this picture, was arrested for murder. The prosecutor was Andrew Weissman. 33 years ago, Andrew Weissman was a prosecutor in New York City.
Wow.
And what they did, or what Weissman did, is he withheld information from both his team, the defense team, as well as the judge. He said that this witness, that Weissman says, my witness is impeccable. He's fantastic. And he says that Michael committed the murder and we can trust him, but I can't give you his name because then he would be at risk. It's similar stuff that Weissman's been doing now for 30 years. They did that with remember this first impeachment. We can't tell you who the witness is, but President Trump said this. They continues to do this stuff. And anyways, and then these recent cases against President Trump as well. Insanity. But this guy's been getting away with it for 33 years. What happened was it turned out that the witness was this mafia hitman. And that was the guy that many people believed committed the murder. And other people got off when it was turned out that this hitman was the witness. But Weissman had already been, or not Weissman, but Michael Sessa has already been charged. He's reached out to me. He's got some people in his court like David Schoen and Roger Stone and others that want him to get out. We want him to get a pardon. But this is what happens when you allow monsters in your house for 33 years. They don't change. They keep doing the same things over and over and over again and hurting people. And they do it because they know they can get away with it. So I want to shed some light. I'll share his information with you too after the show on Michael's situation. We got to get people to see what's going on. And maybe a final question, Jake, how many people did you meet in prison that as you looked at it, you're like, what's this guy doing here? Not just January 6ers, but others. How many are in our prisons? My whole picture of the prison system has changed over the last few years. What do you think?
Well, that was also a great grace of God, because the January Sixers come from a much different background than most prisoners, right? We had this huge community and we had a voice that 99% of federal prisoners don't have. And so we were able to shed light on the wicked tricks of the prosecution, on, the heavy-handed sentencing that the judges do, and the whole entire system being tainted. And in fact, I met dozens and dozens of other political prisoners, people that had their homes raided, by the FBI, and they took, legally lawful weapons from them and then charged them with, federal weapons charges. And these are patriots, and the reason why they're raided is because they were openly known in their community for being Trump supporters and patriots and whatnot. And so I met dozens of men there for nonviolent gun possession charges. And I excuse me if I'm wrong, but the Second Amendment of the United States of America says it shall not be abridged. a man's right to own a weapon and to defend himself. And so, you know, I met many political prisoners, many people that had this weaponized DOJ encroach upon them because they were gun owners or because they were Trump supporters. And so there's going to be one of the best things that's going to happen stemming from January 6th, above all else, is that prison reform and a deep dive is going to be, you know, looked at on how we prosecute, you know, arrest and treat human beings that are accused of crimes.
Yeah. That's that's another issue we got to work on. So there's a lot of work to do, that's for sure. Jake, it's an honor to have you here. And you know, keep fighting. Like Trump said, after getting shot in the head, fight, fight, fight. I mean, he's been a great role model for all of us, as well as you. So thanks for joining us today. Keep in touch. We'll get you back soon, and good luck today and every day as you continue this incredible journey here on this
Thank
earth.
you.
Take
Thank you,
care.
guys. Guys, if you want to support the Jan Sixers, by the way, with donations for the guys that are trying to resettle into society, go to j6rebuild.com. If you guys want to help out, get the guys new pair of sneakers, cell phone, first month's rent. You know, we've got a bunch of guys that just got out of prison and they need a little help getting their feet back underneath them. So thank you again so much, Joe, and everybody over there at Conservative Daily. You guys are the best. We love you so much. And may God bless you, brother.
Thank you, man. Take care. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow again on the Joe Hoff Show. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks, Jake Lang, for coming, and we will see you soon.